What up, people of Earth? It's Thinker St. James, and I went to a concert over the weekend, and I just wanted to do a quick video to tell you all about it. It was the Misfits with Megadeth and Fear. The concert was June 24th, my dad's birthday. Shout out to Big Mike. It took place at the MidFlorida Credit Union Amphitheater in Tampa, Florida, and it was fucking awesome. The end. No, I just wanted to go over everything that I liked about the event, the few things that I didn't like about it, very minor things, give you my overall impressions of the show and the venue in case you are planning on seeing the Misfits on this tour, or in case you plan on going to the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater at any time in the future. I went to the show with my buddy Ray, who you might know from our MMA watch-alongs that we do on his channel. That's VitsKing89 on Twitch. Possibly on Kick, depending on how things turn out, but we'll see. Me and Ray went, and he shot some videos, so I'll throw some clips in here so you can get a visual impression of the show. I won't play the audio because of YouTube, but you'll be able to see how it looked and where our seats were. And later, I'll take the camera over to Ray's place, and we'll have a little bit more of an off-the-cuff conversation so you can get his impressions of the show as well. So the amphitheater is on the property of the Florida State Fairgrounds, which is a huge, huge place. A lot of land. But getting in and out was actually pretty easy, all things considered. There was a little bit of a jam getting in, a lot of people going to the show, obviously. But once we were inside and drove around the perimeter to where we would be parking, getting in was not a problem, really. Parking was pretty easy overall, and we didn't have to pay, which was amazing considering the size of the place, and that every place in Florida that I've ever been to for a concert of this size usually charges like 25 to 30 bucks for parking on site. It's also right across from the Seminole Hard Rock Casino, and a lot of people were parking there and walking over because parking at the casino is free. But you didn't really need to do that, honestly. Parking at the venue is fine as long as you were okay with a decent size walk. Because the walk from where we parked to the actual venue was a bit of a hike. So after trekking out of the woods and past many, many rows of cars, we finally made it onto the amphitheater property proper, so to speak, after the metal detectors and only minor confusion as to where to enter based on our tickets. Overall, the event staff was actually really good, and I'll talk about that in a second too. But after we got onto the property itself, the one thing that immediately jumped out to me was that this property is actually designed to comfortably house the amount of people that it seats. Oftentimes with these large venues, for a show of this size, they are able to handle the amount of people that will be there, but they are not comfortable for those people. Accessing the restroom is always an issue. Getting concessions is an issue. Getting merch is an issue. Seating is like sardines often. This place, not so much. I actually was very comfortable with it. The bathroom was really nicely laid out. In one side, out the other. Lots of facilities. A+ for that. Getting merch, the merch line was pretty long to begin with. You know, we looked at it, we said, oh, you know, we'll see what's going on after the show. Very good decision on that as well on our part. But overall, the size of the venue and the layout is off the bat getting a thumbs up from me off of those first impressions. Another thing that we noticed when we were entering the venue that I thought was pretty cool in the year of our Lord 2023 is that the entire show, everything that you did on the property was all cashless. It was all either through card or through app. I don't know if that's the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater's deal or if that was Live Nation, because this was a Live Nation show. But either way, I was like, thank fucking God, because Ray, even in the car, had said, well, if it's cash only, we're going to be kind of fucked. And I was like, oh God, yeah, I mean, I hope they have an ATM, I guess, but that would really suck. You know, I was like having to figure out, okay, well, if I got, you know, $100, if I can get a pretzel and a shirt. No, none of that shit. You were able to get everything with either credit card or app or other means of digital currency, I suppose. But I really liked that, and that made things a ton easier. Before we got to our seats, we wanted to grab a couple of waters, so we went over to the concession stand, and Ray was a little put off by the fact that they were only serving water in cans and not in any type of plastic. From what I understand, there was no plastic on the event grounds at all out of an abundance of eco-friendliness. It was Liquid Death, and it was my first time ever trying Liquid Death. Tasted fine, tasted like water to me. Ray thought it might taste tinny in a can, but I didn't notice anything. He eventually had it and thought it was fine as well. My overall impression of Liquid Death is that it's cool in concept, I guess, for some people, but it's strange to drink out of what's essentially a tall boy, and beer does not come out of it. So take that for what it's worth, I guess. One thing I did think was interesting, though, was that the concession stand had a big sign over top that said cocktails, and I don't remember seeing anybody drinking cocktails, so I don't know what the deal was, but I thought it was strange that they were serving cocktails, but not in plastic cups or containers. Like, what were they putting it in? Were they putting it in paper cups? Little, pointy cone cup of margarita? Seemed a little weird to me, but as I said, I didn't see anybody who was drinking those, and I was not drinking them either. So as I mentioned, we made it to our seats. Yes, the aging, former mosh pitting, slam dancing, punk rock St. James has now yielded to the back issues and the joint pain and said, I want to go to the Misfits and I want to rock, but I'd also like to sit. So that was actually a big reason why we ended up going overall, was that I found some really, really great seats. I'll put some images in here to show you what our view was like, but the seats were super primo. We were just on the side of the mixed location, so that's basically the best seat in the house, is right behind mix. For all of you non-audio people who want to go to concerts, if you're ever in a seated venue, try to get as close to the mixed location as possible. You will get the best front of house audio. But the seats were great, and it really was perfect. I was able to stand and jump and sing, and then I was able to relax the thoracic back pain that plagues me. I'm not going to lie, there is a small part of me that laments the days when I would have been in the pit with all the other young crazy people, but those days are behind me, and I am okay with that. I still have PTSD from the Bush concert that I went to, where I had to crowd surf my way out, or I most assuredly would have died. That was like a Human Crush, almost Travis Scott level situation, which I'm glad no one else got hurt, because it was fucking packed and it was atrocious. That actually is the video for the song Warm Machine. If you ever see that video, I am technically in that video and nearly died. There's also the Coheed and Cambria concert where I got my head split open and was bleeding all over myself like a hardcore wrestler. I left all that behind for seats, and that was a smart decision, I think. And the seats that we had for this show were fantastic. Really great view. We were in the lower box area, so it was like the pit, and then one box below us, and then our box, and that was in line, or just one set back from the mix. So we were back here, and the mix was like right here, kind of thing. The seats that we had were in sets of twos, and they kind of went 2, 2, 2, 2, with like a little divider between the twos in our portion. I think a little bit farther up the bowl, there were more uniform seats in case you had larger than two-person parties. But where we were, it was in sets of twos, and they were nicely staggered, which turned out to be good because we had row 1 of our box, but that wasn't actually row 1. There apparently was ultra premium row 1 in front of our row 1. So there were still people in front of us. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for if you ever go to a show at this venue, that if you have row 1 of one of the boxes, you might not be in the actual row 1 of the box. So I guess a slight negative tick there. But other than that, it was really good. The people in front of us were spaced out enough you could see right through them. No problem there at all. The venue itself, it went pit, then those boxes, as I said, the bowl, and then there was grass, general admission after that. That would be outside. There's a canopy over everything and like kind of an enclosure area. It's not fully enclosed. It's open air, of course, but it's got a roof with, a fan circulating, and there was a nice breeze that night, no rain. So I could imagine it being kind of a shitty deal if you're out there and it's inclement weather, but it wasn't for us. And where we were sitting, I think even with some rain, we would have been pretty okay. So thumbs up for that. One nice thing about these seats that we got was that they had concierge service for concessions. So once we had sat down, we didn't have to move. which was very good because I didn't want to move again after that very long walk that we had had from our car. Fear was already playing by the time that we got to our seats. That kind of did annoy me a little bit because we made it to the venue, I think, around maybe like 6. If we were there at like 6:30, that would be, I think, even late, like based on the time that we left. That would have given us like a 2-hour window to get there, and it did not take us 2 hours to get there. So Fear was already playing by the time that we sat down, but the show said it started at 7. So even with the walk from the car and the jam getting in to the venue itself, all of that stuff, finding the seats, everything, I think that we were still in our seats before 7. So I was a little bit annoyed by that. Now, Glenn Danzig did say that they had like a hard cutoff at 11, but start the show earlier then. Like, space it out properly, because I really wanted to see all of Fear's set, and what we came into was very fucking good. Fear is awesome. So that did really annoy me a little bit, because I'm one of those kind of people that, like, when I'm going to an event, I want to see the entire event. I go early, I leave late. I'm the same way with MMA events. I see every single prelim. I will be there from the second the doors open till the last second of the broadcast. No ifs, ands, or buts. So we caught the second half of Fear's set, and that did suck because what we did see was awesome as fuck, and I would have loved to have seen the whole thing. I'm not super familiar with their catalog, but they're the type of band that my dad probably listened to back in the day and didn't commit to memory, because he didn't seem to remember them when I brought them up to him. But they're definitely the kind of music that he would have been listening to when I was growing up, and I would have caught via osmosis. So what we did see was really great. I enjoyed it a lot, and Fear fucking rules. The one thing that did stick out at that time, and I guess why they maybe didn't want to start the concert earlier, is that it was light out through a lot of the early part of the show. Through all of Fear's set, it was still light out, which did kind of give it the atmosphere of being at the state fair, you know, like having sticks up on stage while you're getting cotton candy kind of thing. I didn't really feel any type of way about that, really. It's like, what are you going to do? It's Florida, summertime. It doesn't really start getting dark until around 8 o'clock nowadays, so it is what it is on that one. But when it did start getting dark, the colors in the sky were gorgeous. It was a really nice view of everything, like if you did a 360 stage all the way around, just beautiful skyline, brilliant colors, and it was a very nice atmosphere as it started getting dark, transitioning from Fear into the later portions of Megadeth's part of the show. Fear fucking crushed it, and then it was time for Megadeth, the co-headliners of the show. Now, I'm not the hugest Megadeth fan in the world. Their catalog is a little bit spotty in my personal opinion, but I knew that when I saw that large Megadeth logo getting scrolled up, hoisted into the rafters, I was like, the roof is about to fucking get blown off of this place. And god damn it if Megadeth did not come out and fucking do just that. They were awesome live. They are one of those bands that you really should see live if you have the opportunity to. And let me just say this. Dave Mustaine is the fucking man, all right? Don't get it twisted, okay? He gets a lot of shit for all the drama back in the day with Metallica. Fuck all of that noise. Dave Mustaine fucking rules. He shreds like nobody's business. The guy is a beast on the guitar, and for all of the terrible, horrible health issues that he went through recently, still vocally sounds good, sounds great, really. You know, no noticeable difference in his vocal tonality or any of that kind of stuff. Really on point, still killing it, still crushing it. And one thing that you might not know about Dave Mustaine, but you should, is that he was on a single episode of the criminally underrated show Duck Dodgers, which ran on Cartoon Network from 2003 to 2005 for 3 seasons, based on the 1953 short Duck Dodgers in the 24th and 1/2 century. Yeah, I know this shit. I don't know why. I just fucking do. I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of privately laugh to myself a little bit when they played the song Sweating Bullets, because if you're a fan of the Game Grumps like I am, you know that they talk about that song in a couple of their episodes. And when I sang along, I did go, "Sweating Bullets!" like really obnoxiously, which might have been annoying for the people behind us a little bit, but it is what it is. I'll leave a link in the description if you don't know what I'm talking about. Speaking of the people behind us, they turned out to be really, really awesome. So perhaps the singing wasn't that obnoxious, or maybe they just couldn't hear it. I don't know which one it was, but they turned out to be really, really nice. We talked for a little bit. They took some pictures for me and Ray. We took some pictures for them. And especially shout out to that one guy who complimented my Tsunami Bomb shirt, because that's a band that I didn't think anybody even really knew about when they were around, let alone now. I saw them on Warped Tour probably in like 2003 or 4. So that's the time period when they were like big. They were never a big band, but like, you know, when they were like in their heyday, so to speak. And I love Tsunami Bomb. They are a great band. Still love their music to this day. I think The Great Escape was the name of their big record or their major label release. Great band. They had broken up and I think reformed within the last 5 to 7 years. I don't know the timeline exactly, but Tsunami Bomb is really cool, and I'm glad that people still know about them. So shout out to them and shout out to that guy. Fear and Megadeth were kind of just icing on the cake for me personally when it came to this show. The Misfits with their original lineup was the star attraction and what compelled me to want to go so badly, considering that I'd wanted to see the original Misfits together for many years, considering all of the behind the scenes nonsense with Danzig and the legal mumbo jumbo and all this other crap that was going on, because for as much of a fucking Halloweeny aesthetic as the Misfits may have, they are also the most corporatized band on the planet, as their stolen logo being plastered across every lunchbox and every Hot Topic and every mall in America can certainly attest to, but I digress. We had been denied the original Misfits lineup for many years leading up to this, and I was like, I have to go take my opportunity to see this band while I still can. I didn't really get into the Misfits that early on in my musical timeline, so to speak. Like in the Tsunami Bomb era of my life. I don't remember any of my friends listening to the Misfits back then, and my parents didn't listen to them either, which is strange to me considering that my dad was a punk in New York at the same time that they were starting the Misfits in New Jersey. So I don't know how they just missed each other, but for whatever reason, they weren't really on my radar that early on. In fact, my earliest exposure to the Misfits is actually in a cameo that they did in the Insane Clown Posse movie Big Money Hustlers, which is hilarious, and like everything else that ICP does, is fucking awesome, and if you think otherwise, you're an asshole. No, I got into the Misfits in early college through a friend of mine who I was friends with in high school, but we ended up going to the same college for a little while, and he was a big fan of the Misfits in that college era. Turns out that that guy became a huge anti-Semite, which really sucks. So I guess at the time, he must have just been like really, really pushing it down deep. You know, he was really tamping it down at the time. Or maybe it was always there and I just didn't know. Yeah, we were pretty close, but sucks. You know, that kind of thing happens. But come to think of it, I think he actually was taking German classes in college, so maybe it was starting to bubble up at that point. Guess I should have fucked his girlfriend when I had the chance to, huh? Anyway, the point is that that was a long time ago, and that's how long it had been since I had wanted to see the Misfits in their original lineup together performing live. So, very excited about the show. Long time coming. After Megadeth finished their performance, I would have thought that like a partition or some type of curtain would have gone up to allow the techs to do their thing and whatnot, to set up like some sort of like set, you know, like maybe some type of backdrop or whatever, you know, something like some stagecraft of some sort. Not so much with the Misfits. You basically got two big jack-o'-lantern pumpkins on either side of the stage and their logo on their amps. That was pretty much about it. With a band like the Misfits, it would have been nice for like there to be some like set of some sort, you know, like when I saw Rob Zombie with Korn on the Follow the Leader tour, which was like the first big show that I ever saw growing up. Korn, Rob Zombie, Videodrome. Excellent, excellent show. Rob Zombie's set was fucking ridiculous. It was like this whole elaborate haunted house set, and it had that big character, like the big suit character with the big head walking around, and chicks in cages dancing and whatnot, and like crazy videos playing on the back screen. Like that was the first time I ever saw the footage of our Bud Dwyer shooting himself. Was at that show. So, you know, a lot to take in as a you know, whatever 13-year-old kid or whatever I was at the time. But anyway, the point is, Misfits, not so much. It would have been nice considering that their like horror punk aesthetic would lend itself to that, but not the worst thing in the world, I guess. The stuff that they had playing on the screens was good. They had a lot of animation, which obviously I liked. I'd actually like to know who did the animation for them. That'd be kind of cool to know. But it was all show appropriate and added to the aesthetic a little, I guess. I mean, it was not exactly a feast visually, but it was fine. The real standout of the stagecraft was actually the light show, though. Shout out to the light crew that is working with them on this tour, because the lighting was really, really excellent, especially once the sun went down and everything was really popping. So that was kind of cool. But what was funny was the band takes the stage, plays one song, and then the first thing out of Danzig's mouth after that is complaining about the heat. He's like, "Florida! Why is it so hot down here?" Like, I don't fucking know, dude. Maybe because you agreed to do a show in Florida in the summertime in an outdoor venue? Like, what the fuck did you expect? So the show went on, and it was fucking awesome. It really did deliver musically. I mean, they played a lot of the songs that I wanted to hear, and then some. You know, they played, off the top of my head, just thinking about it, I know that they played my favorite of their songs, I Turned Into a Martian, Die Die My Darling, Where Eagles Dare, Halloween, Skulls. I mean, you know, they played a lot of the great stuff, and it was awesome. You know, it was great. That part was, you know, the core of what you came to see was what you were hoping to see. And that is, to me, at the end of the day, the most important thing. Did you get the musical experience that you were anticipating from the concert, and then some? And I would say that their show certainly delivered. One thing to know about the show is that they do not play any of Danzig's solo material. So if you go to this show, do not expect to hear Mother or any of those other songs, which I know was upsetting to some people in the crowd because I could hear them yelling about it behind me. And I love Mother as well, so I would have at least liked to have heard that song, but you are not going to hear anything Danzig at the Misfits show. And as I was saying about the corporate element of the Misfits, I would suspect that it's probably something to do with rights and performance licensing and those types of things. They probably have a lot of lawyers involved. And, you know, it was like somebody wanted more money or somebody didn't want to pay more money kind of thing. Like, you know, they couldn't meet in the middle about doing both of those combined. Or maybe there's something even deeper that I don't know about there in their long storied history of fucking being at each other's throats behind the scenes. So, but anyway, the point is, though, is that if you go to the show and Mother is the main thing you want to hear or any of Danzig's solo stuff, you will not be hearing that. Another thing that I forgot to mention but really wanted to put in here is that I thought that the overall volume of the show was a little bit low. Not like super low to the point where you couldn't hear everything, but like the master fader was like down just a couple of hairs. Like I would have bumped that up a couple of notches personally. The mix was great. Like the drums, the guitar, like everything, the bass was really nice. Like everything mix-wise was fine, but like the overall output volume was just a hair below where I would have liked it. Now, granted, I have been around loud music my entire life, basically, so my hearing might not be that great anymore, but I still think that it could have been a little bit louder for my personal taste. I'm sure that a lot of people, you know, being into metal and shit would have liked it to be cranked through the roof. I'm not saying that it had to be cranked through the roof, but just a little bit louder I think would have been nice. Like the vocals were mixed in like a little bit lower than I personally would like, because in general I think that in live settings often vocals are mixed a little bit too deeply into it. I like them to kind of sit a little bit more on top of the music, but I think that's more of a personal mixing preference. But yeah, the overall volume was just a little bit lower than I would have liked. And I don't know if that was the band's wishes or the front of house engineer or the venue, but I would suspect that being that it's an outdoor venue, and kind of on the edge of civilization there, you know, like on the other side of the highway and not exactly like close to much residential, but it's close enough that a concert like that sound would travel pretty far. And I'm sure that there are some people out there, I don't know them, but there have to be people who exist that don't want hybrid moments blaring into their temples if they're trying to sleep at 10 o'clock at night. So that's pretty much it for the show itself. really great. Really enjoyed it. Danzig sounded great. Would have been nice to hear some of his solo stuff in there too, but it is what it is. As we were leaving, that's when we went to go hit the merch booth, and I fucking knew when we got there, I was like, there is no way that this band is going to sell out of merch. No fucking way. They would rather print 10,000 shirts and have, 1,000 left over than not sell one extra shirt. You know what I mean? So we made the wise decision to hit the merch booth on the way out. And even then, lines were not that bad. Again, keep the money moving, circulate the people through. Don't want to put people off by too long lines, then they won't buy. But it was fine, and it actually gave us some time to allow the rest of the people to exit. And I will say, getting out of the venue was not a problem at all. It was super easy. So overall, the concert itself, I would give probably like a solid 8 out of 10, maybe like a 7.5 out of 10, based on the minor criticisms that I have. Now, I mean, you have to understand, like, a 10 for me is like, has to be like God tier concert. So yeah, I would say like a 7.5 or an 8 is like a really, really solid number for me. Like, most concerts that I go to are not really even going to reach that. So don't take that as like a negative review. That's a certainly very, very solid review. And I had a great time at the show and I loved it. Now, review of the venue. The venue gets a solid thumbs up. Venues get thumbs up or thumbs down. It's not like a scale system or whatever. Did I enjoy my experience, and was it hospitable for what I was there for? And it gets a thumbs up on both of those accounts. So absolutely, if you are going to see a show and it is at the MidFlorida Credit Union Amphitheater at the Florida State Fairgrounds, I would say go for it. Because for the type of show that you're going to be seeing there with a lot of people, all of the things that come with a concert of that size are handled very well at that venue. So thumbs up to the venue, 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for the concert itself. High marks all around, really. Had a great time. And speaking of the merch, here is the shirt that I got. I wasn't super thrilled with the font at the very bottom. I'm very, I have very specific aesthetic elements that I like. I key into things when it comes to shirt graphics, very acutely. I'm very particular about the shirts that I wear. That's why I actually have so many shirts printed, because I want specific things on shirts a lot of time. So the one thing that stood out to me is that I didn't really like the font at the bottom, but that was pretty much it. And yeah, so I bought this one. I will be wearing it soon. In fact, I might even wear it tomorrow when I go over to Ray's place. So with the magic of editing, I will cut now to me and Ray talking about the show, and we can get his experience and opinions.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, that's recording, right?
Hey, yeah, there's a red light.
It says rec on it. There's a red light on there.
There's a red light on there.
Yeah, we're not now. We gotta get you in there though.
I would like to be in there. So
yeah. Okay, so anyway,
from the get-go, everything that day started off hella rocky for me. I had gastritis, so I was in hella.
Oh gosh, yeah, I didn't talk about all that part of everything. Yeah,
so
true.
It was even iffy that I was even gonna go, because that was really iffy. But I really wanted to go, so it really didn't fucking matter. I was gonna push through it regardless. But yeah, once we got in the car and we were on the way there, the vibe was different.
That was the other thing I wanted to ask. So when we got to our seats, when we were in our seats, what time do you think it was?
It could have been anything past
I saw 6:30ish, right?
Yeah, we got to our seats at 6:45.
Okay, so yeah.
We got to the venue at right before 6. It was 5:45.
Right, that's what I was saying. One of the things that bothered me a little bit was that when we got there, Fear was already on, and I was like, the ticket said 7 o'clock, so
Yeah, and that was a little weird. Because we got there. What took so long was the walk. It was about a 20-minute walk.
Mm.
And the only reason why I say that, because at the same exact point, both going to and coming from, it said 20 minutes.
True.
On my watch. So I was like, this is a long ass walk.
Yeah.
But I mean, it wasn't that bad. Everything was real weird. Parking situation wise, just because like it was kind of like the land of the law.
Well, that was just like getting in though.
Yeah.
Once we actually got in and
once we finally got in, it was fine.
Right.
Because like even before that, going into the ticket through the ticket booth, whatever you call it, after security,
right?
We got sent over to like 2 different places. It felt like nobody really knew where to go.
Well, because there were at that point from the fairground part in. Felt like there were maybe like 3 or 4 people working total.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember saying something about that. It was like they have like 5 people all together on this team.
Yep. It was kind of incredible that people got to their seats, to be real. Once we got past that, though, it was all smooth.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. Like when we were actually on the property of the amphitheater, like all that staff was really on point.
Yeah.
I would say. Like when we actually like were inside, they all had their little placards with the chart of the place and could tell you like, okay, you need to go over there, and then we'll first say you need to go over there, and that part went smoothly after the entry when they told us to go to the wrong entrance. But again, that was on the other side of the gate, so.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was Live Nation staff or if that was Fairground staff.
I think it was Fairground.
You think it was Fairground staff?
Yeah, it just felt like it. They knew exactly where to sit and everything like that. So I'm pretty sure they were just Fairground workers. Seats were fucking mind fucking blowing. It was fucking dope.
Yeah.
The view was great. We had great people around us, which was also great. Like, everybody was there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And, like...
No assholes.
No assholes. Not even one. After the show, I ran into some randoms when he was in the bathroom. Because,
the dude that hugged you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll get to the actual concert itself. But he goes into the bathroom, I go into the outside or whatever, and it was like a couple right in front of me, so I was like, alright, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing, so I'm just gonna go around you. So I went around him, and I kind of just stood off to the corner, and some dude, like, shoulder checks me, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to get into a problem. He turns around and goes, man, I am so sorry. I am so glad you're here. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. And I gave him a hug back. It was actually really nice, man.
It was a genuine human connection right there outside the bathrooms.
I thought we were going to have some serious problems. I thought I was going to get into a fight.
Could be drunk at that point, too. Yeah. That was after the show, so,
he was drunk.
Drinking.
He was just a happy drunk.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
Speaking of alcohol, though, when we went to the concession stand, it said cocktails over it, right?
Yes.
But they were not serving anything in plastic, correct?
No.
The whole venue was plastic free. So what were they serving cocktails in?
Yo, you know what? I never saw anybody with a cup.
That's what I said too. I was like, I didn't see anybody with anything besides cans, period, pretty much. It was like they were moving liquid death like fucking, like water.
Yo, they were though.
Yeah.
They were pushing that shit. You couldn't drink water unless it was liquid death.
Yeah.
Like, there was no other choice.
That's actually a good point, because I did mention that, like, you were off-put by the metal can thing.
Yeah.
But really, the other part of that whole going to the concession stand thing was that you were also put off by the fact that it was the only option.
Yeah.
I was just like, take this or no.
Yeah, I was just like, nah, I'm good. I don't... As most Americans, even though we don't do it in our politics... I love having multiple choices. Give me multiple choices and I will choose the one that fits me the best. Not what you want me to drink. That's kind of, I don't know.
Un-American.
Yeah, it's un-fuck-American, man. Like, bro, you're only going to give me a can. One can. That's it. Just a can. Oh, $5 for that one can of water. Yeah. It was a little off-putting. I did buy 3.
That's what I was saying. We eventually had it. It was eventually fine. Oh, and the other thing about the event staff, when we did get food at the seats, the concierge was great, and the lady was super nice. Like, all of the, like, that part of it was 100% great.
Yep.
Like, really enjoyed that, and being that it was all cash free, it really was very easy, just pick what you want. They had the little QR thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Scan that and, get the menu. Take
Yep.
that.
It was honestly fantastic. The whole experience, even as soon as we got into the gate, to when we got back here, to be honest, because we had a great night even after that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do a video about both movies that we saw recently, Super Mario Brothers and the Spider-Man movie.
Absolutely.
But so anyway, okay. Well, what about the show itself?
The show itself was it's crazy. It was crazy good. It was not. These dudes are all old. These dudes are all fucking old as shit. Like, you're expecting, raggedy old man. But no, fuck, man. These motherfuckers were, in shape. These motherfuckers were in shape. So, even Fear, bro. Fucking, every single person.
Yeah, I talk a lot on this about how much I really enjoyed Fear and really was upset by the fact that we didn't see the whole set because I enjoyed it so much. Yeah.
What did we hear? Like 3 of their songs? 4?
Probably 4. Yeah, maybe 3. Yeah, actually, I think you are right. I thought we came in more like halfway, but I think we came in more like 3/4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were getting pretty close to being finished, but we got a couple in there. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, definitely the Fear dude was rocking out. And I was singing the praises of Dave Mustaine all over this fucking thing because that dude was crushing it.
It was fantastic.
Serious.
Fucking fantastic.
Serious.
The lighting was a whole lot better than what I thought it would be being in an outside venue.
Well, that's one of the other criticisms that I did have was that I had said, because of the type of music that they do, it would have been nice if there was like more of a stage presence there because you really just got those pumpkins and the amps with the logos on it, and that was about it. So I did think it would be cool if there was a little bit more of an elaborate setup. Just they didn't have to go over the top. It didn't have to be like a fucking a theatrical performance. But
I think because of, first of all, the tickets were not that expensive.
No, all things considered, for sure, especially for what we got.
I'm pretty sure they just didn't want to make it a big thing. They're only doing a total of 3 shows.
Is it 3? Is it just 3?
I think so.
Oh.
Florida, Arizona, and New Jersey.
Maybe we're at the tail end of the tour.
Maybe, but it was on the website.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Either way,
But that's what we were just saying a little bit earlier before we started filming, that they tour in short spurts now, I think. I think they only do 6 shows at a pop.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Even though, even with not having an elaborate stage, they did a lot with what they had.
Sure.
They never stood in one spot. They were obviously the drummer.
He was walking around. Somehow still able to hit all the drum notes.
But other than the drummers, because there was multiple, there's 3 bands. Everybody was up and moving. The crowd was live. It's for Megadeth. And there wasn't that many people for Fear, I don't feel.
The crowd?
Yeah.
It
was getting there.
Yeah, right. It was like the prelims. It was early. That's I was saying that why that bothered me as well. I hate to keep harping on it, but because I like to get to shows and see the whole fucking thing. You know what I mean? So that was a little annoying.
Yeah, it was a little annoying.
But yeah.
Still glad I went. Still glad I got to see at least a bit of it, bit of Fear.
Mm-hmm. I was saying I think I want to go catch them when they come on tour.
Fuck yeah.
On some other tour kind of thing. If they're around, I would like to see the whole show of theirs.
But yeah, man, the split screens that they had behind the drummer was fucking dope looking.
The animation was really cool.
There, were on point.
Yeah.
Everything, all of that stuff was on point. Even the lights were great. The lights were great. Great for an outdoor venue. Because they didn't have any lights behind us. It was literally all on the stage. So for that to work itself out the way it did was pretty cool. But the fucking performances were on point. They were on point from beginning to end. Every single band.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Right on.
And then we came back here, and then we had a great time after.
Yeah,
too.
just a great day overall for sure. It was it worked out 100% great. So, cool. All right, well, there you go.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the footage. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a chance to see the Misfits on this tour or with the original lineup in general, go do it. Definitely worth it. If you have a chance to see Megadeth with or without the Misfits, definitely do that. Fear, also awesome. Go see them. I'm going to try to catch them on another tour if they come back around. I'd really like to see their entire show. And if you have a chance to see a show at the MidFlorida Credit Union Amphitheater, highly recommend going. It is a great venue, and I had a really good time there. Really enjoyable place to see a show. We've got a holiday weekend coming up, so I'm going to try to get some video editing done that I've been putting off and haven't had time to do, so keep an eye on this channel. And Yama, always something going on over at Yelling About Mixed Martial Arts. That's youtube.com/@YamaShow. YAMMA show. youtube.com/@YamaShow. Please subscribe. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching this video. Namaste. And I guess this is a little bit more for me than it is for you, but I wanted to put this in here somewhere because this is a prime example of how easy it is for Ray to make me laugh, and usually vice versa. Like, we crack each other up a whole fucking ton. That's why we hang out so goddamn much. This is a video of Ray surprising me with a video when I thought he was taking a picture. And it's just that easy.
It's a video. I realize that now. Change.